You can't just say anything you want is obstruction. What if he looked at me and said, if you fart, I'm going to smell your fart, and I can't smell the marijuana, so that's obstruction. And then I farted. You take me to jail? You have no jurisdiction on my property over me. What's your name and badge number?
You get it later. Can you stop talking to me?
No! Quit giving me unlawful orders. You have no jurisdiction over me. Did I commit a crime? Am I detained for standing on my own property? No. You're not my boss.
If you step on the driveway, you're going to jail because that's interfering in my investigation. I've already told you.
You're going to lose your job if you try arresting one of us.
You have your final warning. If you step on the driveway, you're going to jail.
This tyrant.
No, she's going.
No.
She's going to jail. You are under arrest.
And you're going to lose your job.
I'm just asking if you are aware that obstruction under the state of Nebraska revised statute is considered only a physical act. Someone physically has to interrupt or stop a police officer from conducting his or her duties. I'm asking if you're aware of that.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
You know, if I got to figure out, like, or I'm going to be safe. Like, if I buy a house and I come to Bellevue and I stand on my property and that cop drives by and his vagina is sore that day, is he going to mag dump on me because I stand on my property? But cops don't rule on feelings, they rule on law. They're only there to enforce law. And, you know, there's no exception to that law. And just because a cop doesn't like somebody or what they're saying, they can shut their mouths and do their job. That's what that cop and any other cop can do if they don't like what a citizen's saying.
Do you mind, would you mind giving your name and what website this is going to be on, so that way when you do release whatever segment you're going to release on it, I wouldn't mind viewing it.
I will say this. You've been very kind. Without having committed a crime, I never have and never will identify to the police. But what I can tell you is that when I drop a video, the whole world sees it. So you'll be notified about that. I'm sure you'll find out that video has been posted pretty quickly. What's going on, everybody? And today's video was filmed on April 27th, 2024 in the city of Bellevue, Nebraska. Nathan was inside his house with his wife when he heard police sirens in his driveway. A member of his family was actually pulled over in his driveway as they were coming home. He and his wife both exited the house so that way they could film the traffic stop, at which point the ultimate arresting officer told them to go back inside, and they weren't allowed to film or even be on their own property unless he decided it was okay. They refused that illegal order and began filming. They also gave some great and much-needed legal advice to the driver and the passenger. However, this crazed cop was not going to deal with anyone not respecting his perceived authority, and he told them where they could and could not stand on their own property. He even drew an imaginary stupid line that they weren't allowed to cross on their own property. The cop told them if they crossed that line and stepped on their own property, they'd be going to jail. However, this is his property, and he's the king of his own castle, and he and his wife are going to do whatever they want in their own property because the police have no jurisdiction absent a crime. So they stepped on their own driveway over 20 feet away from the traffic stop, and they were arrested for obstruction. However, in Nebraska and federally, also upheld by the Supreme Court, obstruction is only a physical act. Unless you physically impede the police officer from doing their job and conducting their investigation, you can't be charged with obstruction. But that didn't stop this cop from doing it anyways. Stay tuned to the end of the video as I call Lieutenant Banks from the Bellevue Police Department in Bellevue, Nebraska, and I ask him about this situation. But as you saw in the teaser, even he's aware that obstruction's only a physical act, but that didn't stop him from trying to make excuses for one of his own dirty cops. And if the highest ranking authority in the Office of Professional Standards, whose sole job it is to investigate dirty cops, is making excuses for those dirty cops, I don't imagine much is going to get done. But this lieutenant seemed real keen on watching this video. So LT, this video is dedicated to you and all the other dirty cops on the Bellevue PD. Subscribe to Nathan. His original video and channel link will be in the description of this one. Tell him Accountability for All sent you, and stay tuned to the end of the video so you can hear my call with Bellevue. And that's the reason I stopped you today.
You have no jurisdiction on my property over me. And there's no law that says the distance from a traffic stop.
Girls, don't answer any questions.
Just tell them to give you the ticket and go away. For real.
Yes, I just have a homeowner list.
You're trying to give me unlawful directives on my own property.
So when my back officers get here, what I'll do is we're going to search the vehicle and search each of you, okay? I'll turn my lights off at that moment.
Baby, don't. You
No.
have nothing to talk to him about. She has epilepsy. You need to turn those lights off.
She has a medical condition, epilepsy.
Stop
You're
telling
going
me
to
my
put
job.
her into a seizure. Turn
Then
those
do your
lights-
job the right way.
You're
putting her
into
at
a
risk.
seizure.
Certainly now we can see that the cop only cares about his own safety. I don't know what kind of a has a bulletproof vest, an AR in the car, a sidearm, mace, and a taser, still feels unsafe around a couple of girls, but I shouldn't be surprised it's a cop. Now, even with epilepsy, one can drive as long as a doctor says that you can safely operate a motor vehicle. Obviously, this is the case because she has a license. But one of the main triggers for epilepsy is flashing sequences of lights. And for his own safety, this cop can't shut those lights off and would rather induce this girl into a seizure so he can feel more secure in himself.
She has a seizure and dies.
My stuff and distract me, I could do this.
So we're recording you,
Okay.
I'm telling
and we're
you,
telling you she has a medical condition.
I will call the ambulance and leave right across the street.
So you would rather her get
No, I'm trying
to the
get
point.
that done, but you guys are distracting me from doing it.
Turn your lights off. Do you know?
Done certain things first.
Oh, so her help doesn't matter? What's your name and badge number? Name, badge number.
Okay, here we go. Hear me out. I won't go
Hear you out.
steering wheel. I'm going to turn those off. I'm going to come back.
You don't have to say it. You guys don't have to do anything.
I'm going to turn those lights off. Okay? I appreciate your team's cooperation. Okay?
What's your name and badge number?
You get it later.
Oh, so you don't identify? You're one of those tyrants, huh? Jesus. Earn the hate. Hey, Shy. What are you guys, what's the deal? What are you being pulled over for?
I was not speeding, wasn't doing any of that. I'm just driving, and I think okay, so that's the thing. And she
What,
wanted to
like,
say
what's
that
your
she
reason?
was
What's the reason for pulling them over? What crime do you think they committed?
like, that's when I turned my hazards on. I was like, we're right behind.
I don't have to discuss that with you, sir.
And I can understand why the cop doesn't want to discuss that with the gentleman filming. It's very clear that the gentleman filming has a healthy understanding of the Constitution and the law. Cops don't normally want to talk law with someone that actually knows the law. They reserve that discussion for someone that doesn't know the law, like the girl he pulled over.
All right. Hey, what crime did he say you guys committed?
Because you have your brights on.
Oh, yeah, I'm right. Flashing at me.
So, you had your bright lights on and now he's here to search your car?
This is something that cops often do. They'll pull you over for some minor infraction. Sometimes the infraction never even took place. But once they get up to your window, they detect an odor of alcohol or marijuana. And now they need to illegally search your car and violate your Fourth Amendment right. Cops have even been known to falsify drunk driving arrests and arrest people for having a .0 blood alcohol content. It's a dirty trick that cops do. And it's prevalent nationwide. State law suggests that you only have to present your identification and your insurance to a police officer when asked on a traffic stop. Nothing within that law states that you actually have to put the window down, hand your license to them. You only have to make it visible to them. In fact, I've even done this.
Do you have your driver's license, ma'am?
I have, that's my
Registration.
Don't say anything, just passing that.
Do you have anything with your picture ID?
Nope.
You don't have any picture ID at all?
This is to use for that. No. No. No.
I'm sorry?
Why are you reaching your hand in my vehicle?
You're at a checkpoint, ma'am.
I'm showing you the paperwork.
Okay, ma'am. I need something with your picture on it.
Then you
No, you
should
don't.
take it up with the state of California and ask them why they don't give out pictures when they give out replacement IDs. Take it up with your legislator, buddy.
Do not reach your hand in my car. I did not give you consent to do
I
that.
need to see the ID.
You can see it.
This is good enough.
David Adam Yellow, first Adam Nora Adam. Date of birth is 1/20 and 91. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? I'm gonna get that now. What's your name?
Thunderman.
Lenderman, perfect. Guess what that's gonna be?
What's that?
Mine.
What are you talking about?
I'm gonna get your cell phone footage.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
It's on a department phone.
Guess what? I just got someone else's footage from Pittsburgh.
Great.
I already got one.
Great.
Back away.
Awesome.
Bye.
I'm providing my ID.
You're providing me with a piece of paper. I just need something with...
This is my ID.
That's it. Listen, that's what the state gives you if you get a new license, right? If you don't like that, take it up with the state. That's the license replacement that you guys give at the DMV.
They just said it was valid. I just heard them say it was
All right,
valid.
bye. Bye. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why do you suck so much?
I don't know.
How long you been a
Probably all my life.
long time all your life? Cool, man. It's all right. He's been a all his life. That was the Pittsburgh PD in Pittsburgh, California. We didn't hand our ID to them. We just pressed it against the glass. And that cop thought he was just free to violate our Fourth Amendment rights, so he reached his hand inside the glass. We pulled that ID away. Moral of the story, all you ever have to do is press that ID against the glass so it's clearly visible to them. Then you don't have to go down this rabbit hole of dirty cops fishing and saying they smell something that isn't there.
Road pirate right here. Hey guys, it's gonna be YouTube famous tomorrow. He has no right to search your car because you had headlights. You can tell him no. How's it going, sir? Name, badge number, please. Thank you.
So, I can smell the odor of marijuana, so I'm going to search out the car. Okay. So, since you're the driver, I'll have you step out real quick. We'll do a quick search of you. Just don't be digging in your car, anything like that, okay? And then...
Shy, don't say anything. You got to get out if he asks you to, but you don't have to speak to him. You're a passenger.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. Shy, you do not. You're a passenger. You know I know the laws, Shy. Been studying them for
Evan,
years.
don't give them anything.
I haven't. I just gave them license, registration, insurance.
All right, don't where you were, where you're going, nothing. None of that. Anything they ask you, they're trying to get you in trouble. Why you gotta put her in the car?
You're detained. No, because I smell the odor of marijuana.
You pulled them over for their brights, and now you smell marijuana? You already are. They're bright lights.
Can you stop talking to me?
No! Quit giving me unlawful orders. You have no jurisdiction over me. Did I commit a crime? Am I detained for standing on my own property? No. You're not my boss.
I'm telling both of you, though, you will not leave the grass area.
You can't tell me where I can f***ing go.
My house.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you obstruct obstruct my investigation by coming any further than where the grass is, you will go to jail for obstruction. That is your last and final warning. Both of you.
Yeah, you.
Record me. That's perfect.
I am. You're recording yourself.
I'm telling you that. This is your final warning. If you guys step foot off of your grass onto your driveway or the sidewalk.
So you're telling me if I step anywhere other than where you want to, we're going to jail?
Now keep in mind, you're at your own house. Your property, you paid for, conducting a constitutionally protected activity. The very First Amendment, the building block for the Constitution and freedom which is our republic. And some stranger with absolutely no jurisdiction tells you where and where you cannot go on the property that you pay for. And you pay the very salary of the person that's telling you what you can and can't do at your own house. You're literally paying your abuser. Police are like the ultimate dominatrix. You are the king of your own castle. Absent a warrant or probable cause, they can't tell you what to do. In fact, at that moment, even though an investigation is taking place onto a traffic stop, the police are on the property without privilege, which means they can be trespassed and they'll have to leave and continue their investigation on the street. But instead, they will ultimately arrest these people for standing on their own property.
All right, sir.
Okay, you seem like you gave me your name and badge number. He refuses to. What's going on? Why is he trying to tell me where I can and can't be on our property?
It's not necessarily about where you can and can't be on your property.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you're interfering with the police, official police investigation.
Well, he pulled him over for bright lights, so I get that, you know.
Right?
Okay, and they're family members. We told him that she has epilepsy. He said he doesn't care. He'll call an ambulance if she gets in trouble.
Right.
That right there?
Right.
My
And
driveway
I'm
now
not really.
because this is my child coming home.
Okay, nope. They can go around. If you step on the driveway, you're going to jail because that's interfering with my investigation. I've already told you.
You're going to lose your job if you try arresting one of us.
That's your final warning. You step on the driveway, you're going to jail.
This can't be overstated. Even if you weren't at your home when you were out and about, you still have a Fourth Amendment right for forward progress, and the police cannot interact with you unless you've committed a crime. Now, armed intruders, all in black, are trespassing on your property, and they're telling you if you go on your property or move to parts of your property that they don't like, they will kidnap you and take you to jail. Remove the uniform. You know what that's called? Armed home invasion and kidnapping. If you have a badge, you're good. Qualified immunity. That's the Bellevue Police Department.
Those
Hey, nope, she's going.
No,
She's going to jail. You are under arrest.
and you're going to lose your job. Are you kidding me right now? You see this? They're arresting her. She's on her own property. She stepped on the driveway because this guy got his feelings hurt.
Now stay with me, folks. Eye on the prize. Let's look big picture here. This cop didn't just arrest her because he was butthurt. Of course, that's a contributing factor. But there's a primary reason why he's arresting her, and I could see it immediately because I've been doing this a long time. Now, besides filming, what are the two people that have cameras doing? They're educating the driver on their rights. They're telling her not to speak to the police, to keep with her Fifth Amendment right, and to not allow any illegal search or seizure without a warrant or consent, her Fourth Amendment right. This butthurt cop knows that as long as those people are there, he's not going to be able to get away with his illegal activity, at least not as easily. But if he arrests them with his perceived authority for a crime that never happened, and one or both of them are gone, that seriously increases his chances for his illegal search for marijuana that doesn't exist. And if he only takes one away, maybe the other one will be so scared of his authority that he still just might get away with it.
Probably got picked on in school. All right, you guys, do you want to be included in the lawsuit with this guy? You can let her go. Or are you actually going to go with an arrest for walking on her own property?
You got her? Yep, I got it. So, like I was trying to explain.
Listen, man, I know the laws. I know the Constitution. You want to read the back of my shirt? I know all this. Like,
Have I ever mentioned? We are not.
I've seen this happen 100 million times. I've been like, I know that right there, that's a lawsuit. It's going to go to a lawsuit. I know you guys have qualified immunity, so you don't care.
We actually don't on a lot of things.
Well, this right here, you're fucked. If you're going to comply, take her to jail for walking on her property. I mean, what crime did she commit?
Like I was trying to explain to you before.
Okay.
It's
Obstructing?
so interfering.
Interfering. So we're standing on our own property.
But here's the deal. Your guys' actions have very clearly taken this officer's attention away from his traffic stop.
Okay, so let me see if I got this right. A constitutionally protected right is exactly that, a right, not a privilege, and a right cannot be converted into a crime. So this backup officer is saying that their actions were illegal because they interfered with the police officer's ability to do his job. But their actions were free speech, First Amendment. Free press, First Amendment. They were peacefully protesting, First Amendment. They were petitioning for a redress of their grievances, First Amendment. So this cop is openly admitting that one of them is being arrested for only engaging in a First Amendment right, meaning it's a constitutionally protected activity. A constitutionally protected activity cannot be converted into a crime. Thus, the officer was retaliating, abusing his power under the color of law. So when he's talking lawsuit, he's right on point.
Where there is a danger, right?
There wasn't any danger. And he's on my property.
There is a long-standing standard that there essentially could be danger, right?
There's a long-standing standard that there essentially could be danger. That is the most coward way possible to try and make a non-dangerous job seem dangerous. If there is a long-standing standard that there essentially could be danger in policing, let's just agree that there's a long-standing standard that there could essentially be danger in anything. That is a tongue twister. If any job operated on those standards, no pizza would be delivered. Actual statistic, you're 100 times more likely to be killed delivering a pizza than you are being a cop. But I don't want to argue with the standing of a long-standing standard, because the standing of the current standard is, well, be humble, sit down, don't stand.
And we don't know until we
So you guys are scared of everything, basically.
No, that's not
Shoot
what I'm
first, ask questions later. I've seen it a million
we
times.
have, when we're doing a traffic stop, in order to make sure.
Let's fast forward 5 minutes and see if he's still copsplaining. Still copsplaining. Still copsplaining. And still saying nothing of value and approaching 10 minutes of copsplaining. It's all they do.
You need to let her back out.
The bathroom and come right back out just to let you know. Okay?
She can go to the bathroom and stay in there.
Nope, she has to come back out.
She's a passenger. You pulled him over a driver.
So did he articulate to you that he smelled weed in the vehicle?
He said he smelled weed.
Okay,
He pulled him over for their lights.
I can smell weed from the vehicle.
Okay, but
I'm sorry, I don't know who the front.
the passenger has nothing to do with it. You got the driver in the back.
If there's illegal substance in there, she is still detained because we have to determine whether or not the weed that we smell belongs to her or the driver.
So what?
This police department is so ridiculous. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Unless the marijuana is in the passenger's pocket or person or directly underneath the seat, then it's in what's called a common area. And if neither the driver or the passenger claim it, the driver's taking that charge. But that's not what the cops are thinking. They're thinking detain, 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 charge, 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 kill! Oh, no, sorry, that was an acorn.
Does her being in the back of a cop car because she stepped on a piece of concrete that she owns?
Like I said, that's
Can you honestly look at me man to man and tell me that she deserves to go to jail because she stepped on a piece of concrete where you're standing?
Very clearly walking towards a traffic stop.
No, she was not. She stood right behind the car.
She was taking the attention of the officer who was trying to conduct the traffic stop safely.
He can look at them and do whatever he wants. Us standing here, is there a law that says how close we can be? I mean, I don't know about you, but
Right.
it seems like he'd be okay.
There's not a law that specifically says
You got bulletproof vests, you got guns, however many are here, and you're scared of a woman standing on her driveway?
It has nothing to do with whether or not we're scared.
You just said you're worried about safety, to consider everybody's safety.
That's different than being scared.
So how did she pose a threat?
Because she walked towards the traffic stop.
Hey, do you mind giving me your name, badge number, sir?
Talking to me?
Yeah, if you would.
Officer McGuire, 304.
Thank you.
Mine's Marky 331.
Oh, you're finally gonna say it now, huh? Being a smart ass earlier, and now you're finally gonna tell me because everyone else did their jobs the right way.
I was gonna tell you later too, but I'll just get out of the way so you don't have to ask me again.
Well, when we see you in court.
And after a few more minutes of cops doing absolutely nothing, enters the supervisor.
LT, this is Nathan.
Hello, sir.
How's it going? Hopefully you are going to do your job right today. I said hopefully you're going to do your job right today and uphold the law.
I will definitely do my job. What can I do for you?
Okay, so I don't know what they told you about her. She lives here. I live here. This is our private property. So there's a cop out front. We don't know what's going on. We step out, we record because that's what you do. You guys record us, we record you. Nothing wrong there. She was standing right here and we told the drivers, hey, you don't have to tell them anything. Don't say nothing. Then the supervisor guy, shut up, go back in the house. You guys don't be out here. You can't be out here. You're interfering. I said, this is our private property. You can't tell us to go back in the house. We can stand here and record you. There's no law that says we can't. I didn't commit a crime. You know I didn't commit a crime. I'm not detained. Okay, so hopefully you're going to do something about this, but he said he gets upset because I'm arguing with him. Clearly, people get upset when people argue with them. Shine into that here.
Sure. You're going to record me. I can see what you're doing with your hands. But go ahead.
Well, I know you can, but you're trying to obstruct the camera, which is a constitutional
Do you
violation.
have an actual... Okay, that's not...
No,
Do you have
okay.
an actual question for me?
So she walked from right here to right where you're standing.
Your girlfriend who was not involved in a traffic stop, right?
No, nothing. She had nothing to do with it. We came out of the house, and he said, if you step on the concrete, you're going to jail.
Okay.
She stepped on the concrete. And now she's in the back of a car.
Okay.
So how is that? Why is she being arrested?
Well, let me ask you a question. So he was dealing with the traffic stop here where I can smell the weed from here where I'm standing.
Yeah, had nothing to do with her.
Okay. But, like, this is what, 10 feet away? He said, don't come any closer or else...
He said, step on the concrete. First, he said not to come out of the house. Then he ordered us to go back into the house. And I said,
Because
no.
you were yelling at her while he's trying to...
We come out, and he looked, said, go back in the house. I said, we don't have to. This is our property. We said, hey, you don't have to say anything.
Maybe that's why you can't...
You have the right.
Yelling, right?
No, we weren't aggressively yelling.
So he said, don't come any closer.
She stepped on the concrete. They put her in handcuffs.
And therefore she did, and now...
So how do you have jurisdiction to arrest somebody because they stepped over an imaginary line that you created on their own property?
For officer safety, he says, don't get any closer.
Officer safety? No,
you're not
okay.
listening to the answer, sir.
I don't need to because you're giving me your bullshit answer. You got guns, badges.
So that was Lieutenant Mercer, and I wanted to speak to a lieutenant of my own. I plan on moving to Bellevue, but I really enjoy spending time in my driveway. But I don't like getting kidnapped from my driveway, so I had a lot of serious questions that needed answers. Like, if in Bellevue the cops can kidnap you out of your own driveway for no reason, because you own the property, what if I'm renting an Airbnb? Then am I safe in the driveway? And if I'm in the driveway, will they go kidnap the owners of the Airbnb? What if I'm in the driveway of a hotel? Then can the cops kidnap me? And do I have a legal precedence in arguing that it's not a driveway, it's a parking lot? And mostly, I wanted to know why their cops were such oath-breaking mother-f***s. So I gave them a call and made sure to notify them that I was recording it for citizen safety. What's going on, guys? And, obviously the cops in Bellevue are really afraid of driveways and places where you park your car. So I'm going to be calling them today. Now, I've really went out on a limb, and I've put my life on the line here, because I'm in the biggest driveway I could find in the area. Drove 45 minutes to get here. So if this lady got arrested for simply standing on a small driveway, I'm hoping they don't mag dump on me for standing in this huge driveway, this huge parking lot. Now, guys, please, taking my life in my hands here for officer safety, okay? So let's bear with me.
Bellevue Police Department, can I help you?
Yeah, can I speak to a supervisor, please?
A supervisor, just just a sergeant or somebody, anybody?
Yeah, sure. I'm recording this phone call for citizen safety, and I need to speak to a supervisor about an issue.
Okay, let's see if I have somebody in the back room. Can you hold on, please?
Sure, thanks.
Thank you.
Now, folks, this is the start to a very long hold. I was told that I was going to be transferred immediately and Lieutenant Banks would pick up. However, I sat, and I sat, and I sat, and then I sat some more. I called, was disconnected, called back, disconnected again, and then I called back some more. It seems like the Office of Professional Standards is rather backed up, and after watching this video, I can guess why. We're about 20 minutes into being on hold, so let's take a special break for some police jokes. What do you call two cops playing tug-of-war? Pulled pork. What do you call an animal with a on its back? A police horse. I was there in the car and I literally can't take waiting any longer. So let's fast forward to Lieutenant Banks. My car just shut off and restarted. That was weird.
Hey, Lieutenant Banks, Bellevue Police Department, Office of Professional Standards.
Hey, Lieutenant Banks. I was trying to get a hold of you, and I had a couple questions I didn't know if you might be able to help me with today.
Yep, I apologize. It took me so long. Yes, sir. I'm here
No,
for you as far as...
that's okay. I mean, you deal with complaints. I can imagine business can be busy sometimes.
Right, yeah.
So I was calling, and I had watched a video. First of all, Lieutenant, thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
I was watching a video online, and a guy was with his wife. There was a traffic stop that took place in his driveway. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And the wife, or the girlfriend, was arrested. The police officer had told her that she could not step onto the driveway because that would be interfering with his investigation. Now, I've spoken to several attorneys in the Nebraska area, and they all confirm that obstruction is a physical act. So I guess my question is, if I'm standing in my own driveway, I could be arrested. What if I'm standing in somebody else's driveway? Or what if I rent an Airbnb in Bellevue? Will I still be arrested for standing in a driveway as long as it's not my own because I can't stand in my own? Or I'm just confused how that works.
Yeah, so the situation that you speak of, that's currently under investigation, so obviously can't discuss any of that stuff. As far as throwing around what ifs, I'm not somebody just you asking whether you can be arrested for standing in an Airbnb driveway and whatnot. Again, circumstances are always different. I would actually have to have a situation in front of me and have all the details in order to be able to say, hey, this is an action that we would take or not take. So it's tough for me to answer your question.
Okay, and I don't know if the dispatcher had told you. I told her, and I'll tell you also. I know it's a one-party state, but I always let everyone know that this call is recorded and monitored for citizen safety. Now,
okay.
Another question. With obstruction solely being a physical act, meaning that someone would have to physically obstruct an officer from being able to conduct his investigation, and, without arresting that person for obstruction, then his safety and the safety of the general public would be at risk. With someone not making physical contact with the officer, how does somebody get arrested for a non-physical act for a law that only quotes physical?
Yeah. Again, sir, with you asking me all this stuff, like I said, that situation that you first alluded to initially, that's currently under investigation. Any of these other what-if situations, again, I haven't even started diving into looking at all this stuff. So again, if there was something specific that happened or some sort of specific circumstances that can be presented to me, I would again have to look at everything that occurred to be able to say, hey, it can go either this direction or this direction.
Fair enough. I understand the totality of it, and you can't comment on an open investigation. I understand that. So let me make it, I guess my question more succinct, a little bit more clear, away from this current investigation, just in generality. Are you, as a lieutenant, you work in professional standards, are you aware that under Nebraska state statute that obstruction is only a physical act? Are you aware of that? No.
What I'm aware of is, yes, there is an obstruction law, and yes, that it all depends on the circumstances within the case. And I understand what you're trying to get me to do is say something that then...
I'm not trying to get you, LT, I'm not trying to get you to do anything. I'm just asking, I mean, if I'd be going at this a little bit differently if I wanted to get you to do something. I don't have magical powers. I'm not a wizard. I can't make you do or say things you wouldn't normally do or say. I'm just asking general questions where I've read the law. I've had 2 different attorneys read and consult with me, and it's very clear that, and the Supreme Court has upheld this, and so has the Superior Court in Nebraska, that obstruction is a physical act. So I was just asking if you are aware, not this specific case or any specific case or the what ifs. I'm just asking if you are aware that obstruction under the state of Nebraska revised statute is considered only a physical act. Someone physically has to interrupt or stop a police officer from conducting his or her duties. I'm asking if you're aware of that.
Oh, I'm aware of that, depending on the circumstances.
Perfect.
No, I'm not saying I'm aware of what you're saying. I'm saying I'm aware of that, and then continuing that under certain circumstances that the law can be used at this time right now without, again, could there be specific circumstances that one may interpret may be hindering somebody? There's a possibility. So I'm just not at liberty to sit here right now and make
you are right.
I just don't want to. That's what the part I just don't want to do.
Yeah,
I'm not going to make.
No, I'm not here to give you a hard time out there. I'm asking questions. That's what journalists do. And you're actually right. Someone can obstruct without being physical. For example, if you pulled over a driver in the car and I'm the passenger, and you asked me to get out under Pennsylvania v. Mims, I would have to get out. If I chose not to get out, even though I'm not physically in an altercation with the officer, that's considered an obstruction. That's the only exception to obstruction on any state or federal level. I understand you're not going to comment on it. You got a job to do. But as a concerned citizen, as well as a journalist, police accountability advocate, someone who has a huge channel that's been doing this for years, the guy did a traffic stop. He detected an odor of marijuana. He wanted to get people out of the car and detain them while he was doing their investigation. I get that. I understand that. There's state laws, and those laws must be followed, obeyed, and enforced. That's what laws are. So we're not a lawless society, okay? I don't have a gripe against all cops. I think that there's good and bad in everything in this world. But that police officer doesn't have the lawful... First of all, on somebody's property, they're on their curtilage, right? To tell someone they can or cannot approach certain parts of their property. I mean, the Supreme Court's adopted that 15 feet is a safe place to film from cops at any traffic stop, let alone in your own property. There's no law prohibiting him or her, for that matter, from walking up to the car and filming, as long as he's not physically stopping this police officer from conducting his investigation. He got upset. He got angry. His authority, his perceived authority, wasn't being respected, and he wanted to send that woman to jail to show her a lesson. And that's my take on it. That doesn't mean that is the way that it is. So I just wanted to call and speak to you. And secondly, if I got to figure out, or I'm going to be safe. Like, if I buy a house and I come to Bellevue and I stand on my property and that cop drives by and his vagina is sore that day, is he going to mag dump on me because I stand on my property? These are serious issues that people are going to take issue with, and I hope that you do your job and you thoroughly investigate the situation. But cops don't rule on feelings, they rule on law. They're only there to enforce law. And, there's no exception to that law. And just because a cop doesn't like somebody or what they're saying, they can shut their mouths and do their job. That's what that cop and any other cop can do if they don't like what a citizen's saying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do appreciate you calling in and giving your opinion. One thing that I think we can agree on is the fact that, yes, there are good cops out there, and there are some that don't make the appropriate choices. All calls that come in here, when people have concerns, we take very seriously. At least I can make that comment for our agency.
Thank you.
I'm going to do what I need to do as far as I look into every situation. I don't care when people call in how small it may seem or how big it may seem. That ultimately is important to them. So we're going to look into every situation, and ultimately, at the conclusion of it, people may not agree on the outcome, but at least we are going to do our job. And if the officer was acting within policy and doing everything they needed to do, then, we'll deal with that. If the officer was not, then that'd be something that we would also address as a department, because we do not stand for officers out doing stuff that they're not supposed to do, or that they do not have legal authority to do. And that's just me speaking in general. Again, this certain incident that you're speaking of, I do appreciate your opinion. We will look into it and address it after we look at every aspect of what occurred.
Perfect. I appreciate it. And I just want to let you know, fairness up front, I have over 200,000 followers on YouTube. When it comes to civil rights activists, people that film the police, I don't just do it from my house. I still do it in the field. I'm one of the largest in the country that do it. And I plan on releasing my video about this event tomorrow. So I wouldn't anticipate this to be something that dies down. I mean, it's going to be mainstream worldwide news by tomorrow. So I appreciate you looking into it, and we the people look forward to hearing the results of your investigation.
Yep, and ultimately the results, obviously, we can't make public or discuss since it is an internal matter. But I don't know if either you were involved in the situation or if you were in contact with the people that were involved in the situation. Obviously, we will deal with them and work with them to get this resolved. So they will obviously know the disposition of it. But nope, absolutely supportive of everybody's right. Your right to report. I'm not a person who's going to try to duck and dodge anything. So that's why I was stating about your question. Ultimately, there's some stuff a lot of things that aren't just black and white. And so sometimes it's just tough giving a black and white answer, because any circumstance can dictate, whether something can be done or cannot be done. So again, I appreciate your concern.
Thank you. And I hope that he has
to look into it.
I hope this officer, is able to take stock of his actions, because he was dealing with just two people that I guess in my, genre, in my industry, they're not considered, professional videographers or police accountability experts by any means. And they were arrested for not listening to that cop. I just want to let you know, if you don't have it on your desk now, you will within the next hour. I'm doing a FOIA request of that police officer's schedule, because what I plan to do is fly to Nebraska and follow around every single day for all of his shifts for a week, the officer that arrested them, to see if he tries to give me any unlawful directives, because I comply with the law. I travel within the guidelines of the law. So if he does it to me, that's a guaranteed lawsuit and a guaranteed loss of job. And that's part of what I do. I like to see how he acted when he thought no one was going to see his behavior, and then how he acts when the entire world is watching. So I look forward to doing that and observing him in the field, and I thank you for your time.
Gotcha. Do you mind if I ask you one more question? And obviously this is completely up to you. Do you mind, would you mind giving your name and what website this is going to be on, so that way when you do release whatever segment you're going to release on it, I wouldn't mind viewing it.
I will say this. You've been very kind. Without having committed a crime, I never have and never will identify to the police. But what I can tell you is that when I drop a video, the whole world sees it. So you'll be notified about that. I'm sure you'll find out that video has been posted pretty quickly.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You have a good day, sir.
Yep. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
And listen, accountability is something that you take a step at a time. You have to go through the protocols and go through the steps. Step number 1, identify a tyrant and someone that likes to violate people's rights. Check. We did that. Then observe that tyrant in the field to see if he'll do it again. So legally, I have the right to record law enforcement officers in their official duties and record them while they discharge those official duties. So through my free speech and as free press, I can record him to see if he'll violate my rights, and then we can see exactly what kind of tyrant we're dealing with. Check out Nathan, his original channel link and original video will be in the description of this one. Make sure when you visit him, tell him Accountability for All sent you. And don't forget, your house, your rules, not the cops. And that's the reason I stopped you today.